So let's take a look at your actual Photoshop window setup. The thing that I'm really concerned about is making sure that you have your layers visible, your adjustments visible, your navigator visible, and then your properties visible. All of these are tabs that are accessible through your window menu item that is at the upper part of the Photoshop window. So if you notice, to get to our layers, you simply click on layers, and in this case it disappeared, and then to make it appear we turn it on again. So to begin our adjustments, we're going to make sure that all of these windows are available to you. So as we begin doing adjustments, you're going to see that we do these adjustments in layers. So if you notice, very simply, we'll just click on this brightness contrast icon, and once we have it, now up in the properties area, it gives us a slider that allows us to control the brightness and the contrast. So I want to bring the brightness way down on this image and then come back to our layer. And here's the advantage of creating all of these adjustments in layers, is that we can make the layer visible or invisible by clicking on this tiny eyeball that is alongside the new layer that you created. So click it on, click it off, so you can see what your image looked like before and after. Now what's even more valuable than that is that we can change the opacity of that layer. In other words, we can change how much that layer is actually being applied. So we can kind of finesse this adjustment that we're doing. So you can see as I'm pulling the opacity down a little bit, that layer is less visible. So there is a before, there's an after with the opacity adjustment included in there. Now you'll also notice in the layers window there is just a blank white square. This is where we can go in and take what's called a mask, which that white square is, and remove individual parts of it using the paintbrush tool. So we're going to go in, and if you remember from the last tutorial, you click the paintbrush tool, and then we want to make sure black is set as our foreground color. If it's not, you just want to click on that icon right there, the little arrow, and that'll flip-flop between black and white. And then I can change the size of the paintbrush that I'm painting, and in this case I'm going to make it about the size of the boat in the water here, and then I'm just going to begin painting, and you can see just the area that I've painted has come off of the image. The rest of the layer is remaining there, so we still have these great dark clouds up at the top, but the bottom area where I wanted to brighten it up and keep that original color and brightness to it, I was able to paint away using this technique. Now whenever we're using layers like this, if we are going to save our image as a JPEG, and I'm just letting my mouse catch up here, if we're going to save our layers as a JPEG, you're going to want to flatten the image first. So in other words, merge those layers together. And you can see it's just working right now. And once it catches up, you can see our layers now have disappeared. Then of course, if we were going to save it, we could do a save or a save as. Also in this window here is our navigator, which is just a fancy way of letting us move around the screen and look in very closely at certain areas. What I use the navigator for is going through the sky, especially, and just making sure that there's not any little dust spots or little imperfections as we sometimes get